So the best news that we're hearing down on the water from Lisa Darmanin, Stevie, full send. That caught my attention right away.
Oh, it looks like pure drama out there, doesn't it? It's an absolutely perfect race course at the moment. We've got 12 boats. I just can't imagine how tight this is going to be as we come into gate 2. The boats are going to have to be sharp. They're going to have to be fast, but it's perfect conditions.
Hannah Diamond, this is completely different than what we saw yesterday. Practice racing, now it's for real.
Yeah, that's right, and these races count right from the off, so teams have got to be firing straight away.
All right, 45 seconds to go. Remember, we've got 4 fleet races today, all 12 boats, all trying to accumulate points. That's 10 points for win, 1 for 10th. Finish 11th, 12th, you get nothing.
33 seconds to go here, and we can see United States and Italy in the middle of our screen. They're leading back early. They've got a lot of time to kill. Brazil and Australia, bottom right-hand corner. They're lining up this inside turn, bottom of our screen, looking to start. The blue triangle there, that suggests the favourite place to be on the line, but it's gusty and under the adrenaline lounge there, and it's all going to now be about executing from here. Brazil, very aggressive with the Australian boat. Canada have a lovely bit of space there. Pole predictor sits on Brazil, but I think they're going to struggle to accelerate from there. Top of the line, it's New Zealand coming in fast. Canada and New Zealand lining up. Lines turn white. We go here. Who can get going fastest towards Mark 1? New Zealand, they're out and clear. Has Burling judged it right?
And it's the black foils of New Zealand out in front. Peter Burling and crew, they will grab the whole shot at mark number 1 here in Los Angeles, and problems out the back for the Aussies.
Oh, look, they're struggling with their wing sheet. They're in no wind behind the fleet there, and they can't get up on the foils. They're really struggling, but Burling leads away. It's so tight. Down towards gate 2, the Rolex sprint leader is New Zealand, and they're well lined up for gate 2. Nothing better than being out in front, because back in the pack, have a look how busy it is here. France have got to watch out for the Germans. They're just clear there. We've got these red and green circles on the boat. They suggest green means you got the right of way, red means you got a problem and got to keep clear. But right now, the boat without a problem is the New Zealand team, as France, they've threaded the needle and they're well lined up.
And Hannah Diamond at gate number 2, the DP World Gate, is going to get really sporty, not for New Zealand or Canada or Spain, but for everyone else.
Yeah, that's right. If you're back in the pack, that decision-making processes are so much more tricky. They've got to make the right call here.
Nice move there by the Spanish, Todd, at the DP World Gate. They've taken the right turn to the bottom left-hand corner of our screen. They were in the pack, but they're now in space. They got clear air, and off to that left-hand side of our screen, that's where Lisa said there might be more wind. So we're going to learn a bit about the course here. Brazil, well, they're way out the back. United States round in 10th, and they've got some work to do, as have the real favourites here. Australia, they've been sailing so well, but they're struggling.
It's like stuck on there. I don't know what to do here. We get the weed stick to Tash.
Oh, he's got weed, he's got just kelp. There's kelp in the water, and anything that's round these hydrofoils just diminishes the performance so much. It's like chucking, you know, it's like dragging a load of chains out the back of your car if you're trying to drive down the road. You're just parked up there, basically, as we can see right now. Spain and Great Britain, Denmark in the middle of our screen. It's so busy, but Canada and New Zealand, well, they're out in front, and surprise, surprise, they're the fastest 2 boats on the racetrack.
Leg 3 of 8, race number 1, the first race of 4. It is the Kiwis out in front. North Star Canada with Giles Scott sit in 2nd, the Swiss in 3rd, and winners last year at the same venue, Spain, currently in 4th. Oh, the precision of the Kiwis, Stevie, they are on point today.
That's really good. And Canada, they just got to the boundary, so they're forced to follow. We can see that yellow line there. We've both got to watch out for Rottwell, Denmark coming, Swiss, sorry, coming in. There you go. They're coming across, about to get near the Canadians and the New Zealand boats fairly soon. They come diving through the gap there. What a moment in the middle, but New Zealand are out in front. North Star Canada, they managed to keep clear, and I think these boats are reasonably well set up for gate 3. And what's the choice at the top? Lisa talked about there being more wind to the left of the course. Well, that's the bottom of our screen where the Swiss are now, and they're going to be well lined up. So for New Zealand, it's a big call. They're going to turn left. They're going to sail away from the shoreline, looking to find more wind. Now, if you're behind, what do? Do you follow, or do you try and split the course and get a different route? What are you thinking here, Hannah?
Yeah, I think you can see the boats that have found a bit more space, finding they can find their speed a lot quicker, but this top gate is going to be really critical, finding the best pressure out the top gate.
It is. I think interestingly there, the Swiss made a big gain relative to Canada, so I think there is more wind where New Zealand are going. Switzerland heading back towards less wind. Is it going to be a mistake?
So gate number 3 goes New Zealand and Canada. The Swiss make it through as well, and here comes the big signal alert on the 405 as everyone jockeys for the best position on this very compact race course here in Los Angeles. We now go down on the water. Lisa Darmanin, what are you seeing? Where's the favored side of this course?
I think the Kiwis in a really, really strong position. It's manoeuvred back in Canada as well, so it is really tricky. It's a huge pile up at these gates as well.
Apologize for a little break up there with Lisa.
Trying to minimize.
Oh, go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, it's just hard to get clear air. It's just hard to find your own space out here, and you just see the Kiwis. When you're out in front, you can make your own decisions, you dictate the rate. When the Kiwis are under pressure, they have those wobbles, but out in front like that, it's really nice and smooth for them.
Penalty Denmark. Port tack boat not keeping clear, go behind Italy.
So Denmark will drop from 8th to 9th, and that leaves New Zealand, Spain, and Switzerland still the top three, as Lisa reported. New Zealand in a great spot right now. Stevie, you've always said this, get out in front, stay out in front, you get all the options.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously very easy to have a plan A, isn't it? And as soon as you're out in front, you can execute that plan A. The trouble is when you're back in the pack, that's when it's hard to deliver a plan. And I think the Spanish have done a nice job here. Emirates Great Britain in the middle of the fleet, they've climbed up a few places and they're in 5th, so strong position for them. Canada and Switzerland, they look to turn right, heading to the side of the course. Left-hand side of our screen, there seems to be a little bit more wind, but you can't just sail straight upwind in a sailing boat. You've got to sail at an angle to the wind, so occasionally you have to go to the less favoured side. It's a game of compromise.
This is like 5 of 8, the first race of 4 today here at the Port of LA. Hannah Diamond, it's got to be a little shock to the system to some of these teams. Yesterday they had practice races, but the fleet was split in half, 6 and 6. So what is it like now? You've seen 12 boats in the same area you were practicing yesterday with just 6.
Yeah, I think it's going to feel so much more congested on the course. Everything's happening so much quicker, and your strategy is really influenced by the other boats around you. So much faster on your feet and fly by the seat of your pants racing.
Here we go. It's interesting right now, I think, is we got Australia still in 11th. They've closed up a bit, but Rottwell, Denmark, they seem to be making a few mistakes.
And go on board. 3, 2, 1.
And we get a great shot on board. That is the onboard camera brought to you by T-Mobile for Business. On board the American, Stevie, and there's a team that needs a big performance here on day number 1. We always say you can have one bad race, you cannot have 2.
Yeah, I think just huge pressure on them there, and they fell off the foils during that tack, but they are racing, they're into it. Rottwell, Denmark, top right-hand corner, they've stopped after that gate, so they seem to have a problem in the roundup. I've been found out, tight moment at the bottom of the screen, right of way Spain. I think New Zealand are clear ahead, but that was tight. It will be interesting to see what comes of that. Diego just kept clear, avoided the collision, but I think the Kiwi boat was clear ahead, and we're on leg 5 of 8. We're basically just passing the halfway point here, and the Spanish boat looks fast to me, Hannah.
Yeah, they do. They've done a really good job of just sitting above the Kiwis' lines. They've got some clear air coming down the course. The thing now is going to be whether they follow or whether they split around this top gate.
So Spain has closed the gap. Remember, Spain won here last year, and as we noted the Open, that is what kick-started their run to a title last year in Season 4.
I think what's interesting, they've chosen to turn right here, Todd, and that's where there's definitely less wind, where the Spanish are heading right now. So potentially, they should have followed the New Zealand crew here and consolidated their second. I think they're turning instantly, look. They're already setting up left-hand side of screen. Spain turn, they're following New Zealand now, but their job really is probably about staying ahead of this group.
North Star Canada, Giles Scott, they come in 3rd place right now. Then the battle for 4th between Emirates GBR, who had a terrible day of practice yesterday, and the Swiss, currently sitting 4 and 5 respectively.
Great Britain are just taking one boat at a time. They're actually doing a very nice job in the pack. As soon as you're back in the pack, you're running plan B, plan E, plan F, and we can hear Hannah here. She's having to try and talk about all the traffic. USA and Great Britain. Great Britain need to keep clear. Switzerland need to keep clear. Oh, they threaded the needle there. Wow, it's so busy on the course. Now Great Britain need to watch out for Brazil. Hannah Mills is going to need to have her head on a swivel to see all the other boats on the race course here. The strategists at the back there, well, Maud on board the Swiss boat, Hannah on board the British boat, both managed to somehow find a way through.
And it's the Kiwis now at gate number 6 that lead the pack, but the gap is closing. Spain coming through there and getting a little bit closer by every minute.
Definitely looks like a problem for Rottwell, Denmark, unfortunately. We'll get more news on that, no doubt, as the information comes in from the tech team. But here we go, another split. Diego Bortin, he has got his fighting gloves on today because he keeps charging, keeps trying to make an overtake.
And we're getting a report that the Rockwool Denmark boat has hit a mark, and so we will find out the damage that was done there and if they can race. Remember, there's still 3 more races today. Let's take a look at it, Stevie.
They're on board. Look, Mark coming into screen, left-hand side. They're very close to it, and that foil on the left. Oh, my. Oh, that's a disaster. That is a absolute shocker. The foils protrude slightly outside the boat here, and we see there Nikolai. He's looking to build a bit of space. Right-hand side of us. Oh, that's a shocker. Oh, no, that could be really bad news on board there. They've just tried to cut the corner on the turn. They've hit that real hard. The foil just a bit wide of the boat. Wow. Okay, well, it looks like no one's hurt. That's the main thing, of course, but that boat, oh, man, that's not great news.
Meanwhile, on leg 7 of 8, it is the Kiwis still out in front. Spain sitting in 2nd place, nursing that lead. They're going to cross right there. Still not a problem. And this is the picture of calm that you usually see from Peter Burling and company.
No, we've not seen that since Dubai, though, have we? Opening event of season 5. This is the first time they've looked smooth. They struggled on day 1 in Sydney. Look to have their fighting pants back on again for race day 2 in Sydney. But yeah, this is the team we're used to. This is the team that dominated season 4 until that grand final. Burling's back. So it could be lined up for the finish here, Todd. If they can make it round that right-hand turn, they'll just do a simple right turn and then blast in under the adrenaline lounge. So we're really at the end of the race here. Burling takes one last look back. Liv Mackay will have her eyes firmly trained on the Spanish boat. It looks pretty smooth on board. Man, a few words, Peter Burling there.
I was going to say, there's not a lot of talk on board, is there? So they'll make the right-hand turn, and then they can see the finish line dead ahead. There you see the red buoy on the left. There's the adrenaline lounge, and the fans will get on their feet as they tip their cap to the winners of race number 1. The Emirates winning moment goes the way of New Zealand.
Big result for the Black Foils. Pressure on, and that Emirates winning moment's going to feel so good for the New Zealand team there. Really let the sailing do the talking for them, but they struggled in Sydney. They needed a good result. They also know that Spain, well, the defending champions of season 4, but also in Los Angeles, defending champions, they bring it home second. Diego, good result. And with Australia well back in the pack, that's for the season as a whole. This is a pretty huge result.
Looks like Canada will hold on for 3rd. Giles Scott, North Star Canada, get a good opening race finish in 3rd. Emirates GBR looking very good, and then the Swiss coming into picture.
Nice one for Giles Scott. Dylan Fletcher on board Emirates Great Britain. Well, they've chipped away through the fleet. The coach, Rob Wilson, he'll be over the moon with a race like that. To be in sort of 7th position at the bottom of the course and just to chip away up to 4th. Little gains, small gains, nothing flashy, nothing clever. The British will be one of the happier teams at the end of that race.
Swiss will round out the top 5, and then France back on the water. Quentin Delapierre, they had issues yesterday during practice, and now they're back out there with that brand new beautiful wing. Killian Mbappe, part of the team. L'Oreal joining the squad as well, so they are a well-financed squad with a lot of talent. And now the Americans making a last-second pass around that last buoy. They'll get around Germany.
Yeah, they did a really great job. Isn't it funny to think of the French team, though, Todd? We were talking about them struggling to make it to the season, and suddenly they've got more sponsors than you can possibly wish for. It looks like a billboard, that French boat now. Clearly, Quentin Delapierre is well worth it.
Germany, Deutsche Bank, they will check in 8th place, and now the slow crawl. Australia's gotten themselves back into it, but I don't think they have the steam, Stevie, to get around the Italians.
No, they maybe just quite. Looks like Germany's got a good result for the US team there, because they were in the pack and they had a little bit of backwards momentum in that race, which is always hard to stem, but they stayed pretty calm, and they've done a nice job. Again, happy with that 7th right at the back here. Well, Australia, big debrief needed. Something went very wrong in the pre-start. Got a lot of weed around the foil, and that wheel on the hydrofoil just means they're not working as efficiently, and if you've got weed on your foil, you're not going to get up and flying very easily.
So while it's great news for France with the addition of L'Oreal and Kylian Mbappe, Stevie and Hannah, it's terrible news for Rockwell, Denmark. They are done for the day.
Yeah, that crash at the left turn at the bottom there has put damage in. We're going to have to get the boat out and check it, and we'll find out more about that later. So disaster for Rockwell, Denmark, but that was a mistake, and you can't make mistakes like this at this level of the sport. We see the start setting up against here, 37 seconds to go there. The Black Foils, where they won race 1, they started towards the upwind end of the start line that time and just used pure speed to get over the top. Burling set that same thing up towards the top of our screen, bottom of our screen. Canada and Spain. Australia, they're in a bit of a fight now. Australia are struggling here. They need a good start to get themselves back into the racing. We see the pole predictor sits on Great Britain, but I do not see how they're going to worm their way through from there. In the middle of the line, well positioned, it's the USA. Top of the line, it's New Zealand. They're up and foiling with 8 seconds to go. Burling spins the wheel. He lines up the start line. We're looking for that line to turn. White, how's your timing, Pete Burling? Oh, he's on the money again at the top. He's going to have a faster angle, but further to sail. Have the Kiwis judged it right for 2 for 2?
So the winners of race number 1, the Black Foils in New Zealand, look to have the whole shot as the entire fleet now comes together at mark number 1. Who's going to hold their nerve? It will be the Black Foils. The Kiwis take the whole shot at mark 1. Peter Burling working his magic on the Pacific.
Have a look at it, Todd. There's 5 wide around mark 1. Absolutely on the money there. Black Foils and New Zealand, and Giles Scott on board. Canada again going well as Spain fall off the foils. They park up there. They've stopped in the middle of the road. Oh, it's going to be tight, but again, out in front, the Rolex sprint leader, it's New Zealand, and it's really, really tight back in the pack.
You can see just how easy it is to get away if you're in front, but if you're in the middle of the pack, executing those maneuvers becomes so much more difficult.
Yeah, and a mistake by the Spanish. Look, left-hand side of our screen, they just did not execute well after Mark 1, fell off the foils, and now there's in no wind, stuck behind the rest of the fleet, as out in front, New Zealand take the left turn at the DP World Gate, and Canada and Giles Scott well positioned.
So it's wash, rinse, and repeat for New Zealand as they do almost the same thing they did in race number 1. They opt for that left-hand side, they split away. The Germans will go with them as Canada and Switzerland opt for the other side, as well as Australia and Brazil. So now the chase is on. Who's going to find the pressure first? We check down on the water with Lisa Darman. And Lisa, has anything changed from race number 1 that you can see? And now we just have 11 boats with Denmark done for the day.
Nothing's really changed, Todd. It's still super challenging out here. It's really, really gusty, thin gusts going around the racetrack.
Okay, going forward.
All right, thank you, Lisa. There you see New Zealand, top of your screen, in first place. Their lead about 100 meters.
You can see there's a bit of a change in direction of the wind on the water. The Kiwis are in really nice lift of pressure, but Germans are just hooking into that pressure now. But you can see the boats on the left-hand side, the bottom of the screen, are really struggling out that corner.
That's right. We see here on the right-hand side, Australia, they look like they've done well, but they've made a bit of a loss. I think we can think now, Canada and New Zealand are going to be able to extend away here. Sounds quite calm on board. Liv Mackay, Pete Burling, they'll have had a plan before the start, and now they can execute it. What do you do if you're in the pack? And right now, for Germany in third, crucial race. Disastrous event in Sydney. Third place here. They need to make this stick. They need to stay in contention early on in Los Angeles.
This is event 4 of 13, and there's still a lot of sailing to go, Hannah Diamond, but as you know...
This is the umpires. Penalty Australia. Port attack boat not keeping clear. Go behind USA.
So the Australians give up another position. They will drop back to 7th. The USA will move ahead of them. And I was just to say, this is event 4 of 13. You've raced in this series before. You can't dig yourself a massive hole. It's just too hard to get out with the talent that's on the water.
No, and the level of this fleet, everyone's going to be learning so much all of the time. The racing's only getting harder to win, so you just can't afford to put yourself at the back of the fleet.
Stevie, the hardest thing do you think that they're learning right now? Is it the size of the fleet with 12 and these small courses, or do you think it's the addition of those T-foils?
I think they're just learning everything. I think it would largely be the T-foils for the subtlety. I think the racing, they've all done a lot of racing. But I think the hardest thing they're having to deal with is yes, you're all set up and everything's going perfectly, but then all of a sudden you're completely compromised by the other boats around you, and what you thought you needed to do is just change. This pack here, Germany, Great Britain, United States, they're all coming in without the right of way here, or sorry, with the right of way, so they should have a relatively easy rounding. But where do they find space? And when the other boats cross, here comes Italy. Who's chosen the best route? Because one side of the course will have more wind than the other.
Right now it is New Zealand out in front. They currently sit in 4th place overall after these 3 events. Canada, they sit in 6th place overall after 3 events. So a big opportunity this weekend if they could keep this momentum going to move up the ladder.
What do you think? Go to boundary here.
Blackpool. See how steady the boat is. See how the height above the water is staying so similar. The heel of the boat, is it angled towards us away? Well, it's just staying exactly the same. It's how Pete, Burling and Blair Took want it to be, and that's because they're able to see the wind they're in. They're clear. No one else is disturbing their course, and they can just easily loop their way around. They're now halfway through the race here. Not a lot to go, and they've just boosted away from the rest of the fleet. Bit of a masterclass from the Blackfoils. Canada are going well, and I think what speaks volumes to me, Todd, Australia are struggling to work back through the fleet. There's just no space to put down that horsepower, that extra speed they often have. It's so tight, they're getting stuck in the traffic.
And Stevie, as we've learned in past races and past years, if you're waiting for the Kiwis to make a mistake, you're going to be waiting for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Look at the pack here, middle of our screen. How's that as the strategist on board there, Hannah? How are you finding a way through that?
It definitely feels quite hectic if you're the strategist in that position. And just finding a bit of space on the course has got to be the goal here for some of these teams.
I think Fairly Key's leading out of a gate here, so I wouldn't be expected to see an easy left turn, but Germany are going to split away. They're going to look to turn right, and it could be good news for Germany, but we see dark patch of water. United States and France are in that. That means more wind. More wind's good. It's going to make you go faster, so the French should be gaining up here. Australia and France are going to be tight coming into the bottom gate. It's all on in that pack, but who can find a little moment after the gate? Absolutely crucial to get up to speed as soon as you exit the gate.
Three-time champions Australia. They currently are mired back in 6th place. The first race they finished in 10th place, so they only picked up one single point. They've got to start picking up points. Remember, it is going to be 7 races, and the points you accumulate there will determine who gets into the big final on Sunday. That's only the top 3 teams on points.
Lisa, it seems a little bit like the boats are sailing a bit more open on the course. The left-hand side doesn't seem to be the only way to go. Is it changing down there at the moment?
Yeah, it feels like the wind's shifted slightly more left. So what that means is there's less of a wind shadow under the grandstands, and it's a more open course. So that's why you're seeing there's a little bit more space out here. It's not a one-way track anymore. But as you guys are saying, it's just about finding space out here because it's so condensed.
Not condensed for the Kiwis or the Canadians, as they are in clear water, no one within 200 meters of either boat, and it will be at gate number 5. The Kiwis opting for that right-hand side as they slow down just a little bit. See how low the boat gets in the water? They'll get up to speed, spin it around, and then they're off again. It's interesting, Stevie, to see what Canada does.
Well, it is. I think Canada will go straight here, and that was an interesting move by New Zealand because they did an extra manoeuvre. And I think it's what the teams in the pack do. One thing you know about doing a manoeuvre, you will lose distance. But the opportunity you might gain by losing that distance is you find space, you give yourself the opportunity to go at full speed, or you sail towards more wind. So the boats that manoeuvre better are going to make the gains. In Australia, look at that, from 6th up to 3rd. They did an early manoeuvre after the last gate, and they're right back in the race here. Huge moment for Slingsby and co, as the Germans, well, one bad manoeuvre and they're back to 5th, but they're still right in it. Tash Bryant lining things up.
So Hannah Diamond, to Stevie's point, are you as a strategist looking not where you are currently, but where you're going to be in the next gate and further, and where the pressure is going to be? So you're basically anticipating, what, 2 or 3 maneuvers ahead?
Well, that's the whole challenge with being a strategist. You've got to keep an eye on what's going on right here, but also what's your next move.
Just remembering as well, Todd, all the time you're taking a compromised decision. There'll be a positive to either option. You're trying to just get the best risk and reward situation that you can find there. Australia, they decided we're going to follow Great Britain, but we're faster. We'll go around the outside, we'll sail more distance, but we set ourselves up for a smoother exit. And they're now sitting in 3rd place, but I like where the German team are heading here. And New Zealand, well, they seem to have made a bit of a mistake at the bottom of the course.
Oh, my.
I think they might have weed on the rudder there or something, some seaweed, some kelp around the rudder, slowing them up. It all got a bit wobbly, but they're back in the game. Opportunity for Canada.
So Canada has closed the gap now, just 6 seconds behind the leaders, the Kiwis, the winners of race number 1. Canada finishing in 3rd place in race number 1. So they picked up the 8 points as opposed to New Zealand's 10 points.
That rolling chasing time, the Canadians are chipping away at it. They're slowly coming in. There's still a reasonable lead for the New Zealand team. They're going very wide on the course up there, trying to minimise the manoeuvres on this upwind leg. And Australia, what a job they've done here. Slingsby and Tash Bryant have found some gold around this course because they're right back in it from being stuck in the pack. Once again, Emirates Great Britain chipping away, fighting well in the middle of the pack.
Got him, Josh. Yeah, Brazilians on the nose. Yeah, below, high, above.
It sounded a little bit complicated there. It's getting busy. They've got to keep clear of the Brazilian boat. They're going to be slow after that. That's going to hand it to New Zealand, but they have avoided a collision. Oh, that was tight.
And once again, the Kiwis find themselves in open space. They opt for that left-hand side. The Canadians have to get through the traffic. And look at this. It's now down to 100 meters, but Peter Burling has not showed a penchant for making mistakes in late versions of the races, so no reason to believe he's going to do that now.
No, probably just one more manoeuvre to go for him. We see that yellow line, bottom left-hand corner of our screen. That's the lay line, so when they get to that and turn, they'll be able to make it to the final mark with no more manoeuvres, and it will just be a home run for the black foils. They're well set up, came down to a great start. Here we go. We see right now they're in more wind speed, they're going faster. That's what that stat's showing us on the Oracle Cloud there. Great gains for the New Zealand boat.
And it's so much easier when you're out in front. You've got more time to make decisions. You've got no one in the way of your clear air getting around the course. So you can just take a breath, take a moment to make that right decision rather than having to react all the time to other people.
This is leg 7 of 8, the penultimate leg here. They will make a right-hand turn once they get through this next gate, and they will see the finish line, and it will be deja vu all over again as the Kiwis will come in front of Adrenaline Lounge. And seriously, Stevie, the metronome that is Peter Burling, whether he's winning or losing, the emotion stays flatline.
Yeah, he definitely lets the boat do the talking. That is to be sure, But they are well away here. 2 perfect starts, and they've brought it home beautifully.
And that will wrap up race number 2. The Emirates winning moment once again goes the way of New Zealand. The Black Foils claim their 2nd win in a row in Los Angeles.
That was some result. I think it's going to be tight back in the pack again. The 2nd place there, that Emirates winning moment. Well, straight over to Burling. He'll be happy with that. Of course he will. How could he not be happy with that? They struggled in Sydney. They've gone well again here. Canada have done well, but it's Australia and Great Britain. Australia have pulled their way back up through the fleet. They're doing well. And once we start adding up the points, I think what's more important now that we've got more boats in the fleet is how you do get these good average results up, because we're already thinking about that 3-boat final tomorrow.
And Emirates GBR coming back strong with a close cross with Australia here.
And it looks like Australia's going to make that turn, and it looks like they will be able to hold off Emirates GBR. So the Aussies will pick up 4th, and Emirates GBR will pick up 5th.
Okay, the Australians.
So the Australians will get 3rd, and GBR will get 4th.
Yeah, beautiful comeback by the Australians. That could be absolutely huge in the fullness of this race here. The Germans are holding on for a decent 5th place. United States, again, sailing nicely around the course here. Much more of a middle-of-the-pack race there. They seem to be finding the little bits of space in the race, that is for sure. Germany, good result. Italy, good result for them as well. But the Swiss and the Brazilians, they are struggling out the back. And our Season 4 champions, Spain, well, they've got the right of way here. United States have got to keep clear. You've got to keep clear, United States here. They've got to watch out. They're going to slow them up. Could be a real problem for the United States. They're going to be so slow after this. France are going to come through on the inside. Who's going to have the right of way? I think United States. France can't go in there. They're not allowed in there. He's got to keep clear just in time. But Spain, brilliant through Botin. Canfield holds on for 8th, and another tricky race for the French.
I know, but we can go up with your backtrack. We're good, we're good.
So the French will hold on to 9th place after a close call with US SailGP team. The Americans go 7th and 8th in the first 2 races, and Brazil was going to come across in 9th. Actually make that 10th for the Brazilians. Mubadala Brazil will come in 10th place, and they will get the final point. Again, the Swiss will finish in 11th, so no points for them. And of course, Denmark unable to go, so that rounds out the fleet of 12.
It's going to be a bit of a reset on that Swiss boat, because these flat water, shiftiest conditions, I kind of fancied them to go quite well. It's quite like lake sailing in that Los Angeles harbour, it looks like.
Yeah, that's right. You'd think these conditions would suit them, and they have been, you know, getting close to some really good performances. So let's hope to see them step it up in the next race.
And Swiss, though, in the first race get a 5th place, but they do not come back with a big performance here. They finish in 11th, so no points for them. Brazil finishes in 10th. They do pick up a point. The French go 9th, the USA in 8th. And it's New Zealand that wins the 2nd race in a row. Canada with another top 3 finish, but this time it's the Australians bouncing back from their 10th place finish in race number 1. And the Aussies finish in 3rd, 1 spot ahead of Emirates GBR, who finish in 4th. And a nice performance for Germany, Deutsche Bank in 5th. Race number 3 is set to go.
Will be attacked by Ocean.
So 11 teams now in the start box here in the port of Los Angeles. Denmark, Rockwell, Denmark, unable to go as they had a collision with a marker, so they are out. What was 12 is now 11. We're now 21 seconds away, Stevie, from the start of race 3.
Yeah, and they have switched up the strategy. Left-hand side of screen, United States. They're in the position that's paid so far, but I think they might be a little far back. We're waiting for this line to turn white. New Zealand are having to fight hard in the middle of the line. They're a bit close. Brazil and Canada look well positioned. We're watching for the line to turn white. It's going to be early on New Zealand, I think. New Zealand are early. They're over early, so are Switzerland.
Early start penalty, Switzerland and New Zealand.
Oh, they've got to go to the back of the pack, and I think it's going to be Canada on the inside here. Right-hand side of our screen. Canada and France are going to be the ones drag racing into Mark 1. United States have come in, but it's going to be a little bit too late. I think they're going on the outside of the bend as we get to Mark 1. Canada are going to make it happen.
And at mark number 1, they are 3 wide as it's Canada on the inside, France in the middle, and the USA on the outside as they make the turn.
We got the top right-hand corner of screen. That's gate 2. That's where they're all heading. There's going to be one more manoeuvre to get there. United States will be able to manoeuvre when they get to the boundary.
This is the umpires. Switzerland, early start penalty not complete. Go behind all boats in the fleet. All boats in the fleet.
They didn't get far enough back. Well, that's not really a major problem for them. They're already struggling. So for New Zealand, for Spain, how can they work back through the fleet? But Canada have manoeuvred well on the boundary. France are ahead in theory, but they're going to start to feel the pain from the disturbed air onto them. And the United States, well, here we go. Taylor Canfield, this is your chance. He's going to be well set for a right turn, I'd say.
And a good shot there as you go on board the Americans.
This is the umpires. Penalty Spain. Relative New Zealand.
Chief umpire Craig Mitchell doling out the penalties early.
He's dishing them out of the back of the pack. The real fight's taking place to the right-hand side of our screen as Canada do lead. France does a nice surrounding. Anyone that's seen any road racing, wide in, close out's the key here. United States are going around the outside, and in the middle of the screen, Brazil and Italy, they're having a bit of a battle. I like Marcini's tactics here with the right turn. She's going to lead out of this right turn. She will have space in the middle of the pack, and that is not easy to find, but how well can she use it? Got to keep that Brazilian boat flat out all the way now.
And Hannah, we're going to find out just how good the Kiwis are right now because they sit currently in 9th place, the winners of the first 2 races, and we'll see Peter Burling go to work, see if he can work up through the fleet.
Yeah, that's right. And sometimes it's not all about winning these early races. It's about crawling back as much as you can if you have a bad start in some of the others. If they can get to top 5, that's going to be a great result for them here.
Good point.
Nice by Brazil. Little manoeuvre on the boundary there. They show a second and the wind's rotated a bit left. It looks like they're progressing up the ladder lines quite nicely towards the right-hand side here. We can see the USA. They're up on foiling now, but they did get slow for a while as Brazil and France. Brazil need to keep clear. They do just keep clear, but they're in the pack. United States have found themselves back in the pack a little bit as well. It's really, really tricky if you don't get first dibs at the bottom gate.
And there are the Americans as we get a good look at the T-foil cam brought to you by T-Mobile for Business. As the Americans are trying to fight their way up, to Hannah's point, trying to scrap as many points as they can. Obviously, a 6th is better than a 7th. A 5th is much better than a 6th, Stevie. You want to be in the top 3 after the 7 fleet races between the 2 days, and then you get yourself into the final, and then all those scores go away, and it's a 1 race for the title.
Yeah, they're adding points. And Lisa, it looks like that wind's rotated left again, maybe here. It seems like the course is getting tricky again.
141, all good.
It's been tricky. It's pretty much the same. It's gusty, it's shifty, it's challenging. But I mean, the Canadians, they've had a great day so far. They've always been up there and they've had, given it away or given distance away. So I'm really impressed with how they're sailing the boat out here today. And yeah, they're really in tune with what this weather is doing.
He's coming.
So New Zealand continuing to move up. They currently sit in 9th, the winners of the first 2 races. But Stevie, right now the consistency award's got to go to North Star Canada and Giles Scott.
Yeah, it does. And you can see right now they're just in that dark patch of water. They're in what you call a lane of breeze. So there was just one patch streaking across the course. And Canada, we see them right now. So, they've got to keep clear of Brazil. They do just keep clear. Marcini Grail's found a beautiful route on this upwind leg at the moment. It's going to be really tight in here. Lee McMillan calls for a fat ley line. He wants to give space coming into gate number 3. It's going to be very tight. They won't have the right of way. They're going to look for a right turn. Canada and France, left-hand side of our screen, they've got the right of way. Brazil have got to keep clear.
Looks like Canada's going to have to do another maneuver.
Yeah, might have to do another 2 here potentially, Todd, because they've got to watch out for the French. They've got to get into this zone, then they can manoeuvre and they'll be allowed to turn left. France have got to give them room to turn left. Oh, France swing round, aggressive from De La Pierre. Wow, that was tight, but the French make it happen. It was worth it for Quentin De La Pierre there as the right turn for Martini Grail, and Brazil could be well set here halfway through the race, and this is a big lead for Brazil at this point.
Mubadala Brazil goes into the lead. It is France that moves into second by some Kylian Mbappe fancy footwork as they get it done. They sit second, Australia third, and Canada goes from first to fourth. And how about the Americans? They are now up to 5th place.
Yeah, nice job at the top. As soon as you get slow in the pack, you lose a lot of distance quickly. So it's how do I find a space on the race course to keep going really fast? And that's big on the strategist, isn't it, Hannah?
Yeah, it is. And I think you've got to be sailing the boat well as well. If you can sail the boat fast, then the strategy is easy from there. But it seems like the wind's just dropped a little bit. We're seeing more like 20 kilometers an hour at the moment, which makes it so much more critical to land some of the maneuvers.
It is Mubadala Brazil that is out in front. And they lead for the first time here at the Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix. Hopefully we can go on board and listen in, Martini Grail and company.
It's a nice, smooth maneuver, that one, Todd. This would be their first ever race win in SailGP. So hold your breath a little bit on board Mubadala Brazil, but we've still got 2 legs to go. We're on leg 4 of 6 here in the race. Crucial rounding at this bottom gate.
Yeah, just fast. Point at the mark. Don't go down at all, it'll be too slow.
Lee McMillan just wants the wing trimmer on board the Brazilian boat, just wants her to keep the speed in there, wants Mubadala Brazil to stay fast. Well, you got France going to split right turn, Australia on your heels, big upwind leg here, and it doesn't look like a lot of wind towards the top of our screen. I like the wind where France is heading right now.
Right gate bias, and you've got 1 and in at the moment. So equal. Left turn is preferable for the final upwind.
There you go. Well, that's the coach of the Canadian boat talking for the booth. He's looking at the tactical apps. He's called left turn. Well, Canada's gone left turn, but is there much wind on that side where Brazil are heading? We'll find out in about 30 seconds when France and Brazil meet up again. I love the breeze where France is at the moment. Lisa, have you got a favoured side of the course right now?
I think where Mubadala Brazil tack, they're actually still in a good amount of pressure, but if they came any further to where Australia is, they're a little bit more high risk, so it's going to be neck and neck, but they look okay right now from my eyes.
Coming up. Good speed now, coming up.
They've got the right of way, Todd. When the 2 boats meet, they have got the right of way, but to me, oh, it's really tight. France, left-hand side of the screen, Brazil, middle of our screen. This cross could be crucial, and don't forget about the ruse. Tom Slingsby's not going away anywhere fast.
There we are, fast, right now. Good angle there.
Just ahead, gain to France.
Nudging it up.
Oh, man,
Oh, here we go, another crossing.
Oh, ne passe pas, that was so tight. They didn't see him till too late. Manon had to shout really loud. Costly for the French. They've avoided the collision. They're still in the race, but that was a big moment. They needed to see them earlier.
And now it's Australia that has moved into 2nd place. Brazil still number 1, France in 3rd.
Crucial here, can Brazil get across in front? Australia's got the right of way, it's just ahead. Now it's all about, will Brazil make this final gate with no more manoeuvres? They've got a little wider on Australia. Australia will be quicker. France will be coming back with the right of way. They will be on the inside of the turn. But if Brazil can line up this right turn, I think they'll be far enough ahead to bring it home.
So here we go. This is leg 5 of 6, race number 3, and Brazil looking to make history with Martini Grail at the wheel. Can she bring it home for Mubadala Brazil?
Turn me up.
There we go, crucial here. Brazil need to make that right-hand turn mark. They look like they're lined up for the moment. They are clear of France. They do lead them. However, look, 15 kilometres an hour faster on board Australia. It's going to go all the way to the finish. Tom Slingsby's on a charge. They're so slow on board Brazil at the moment, Todd.
They are foiling, but here come the ruse off their left-hand side. Tom Slingsby's not going to make it easy for Martini Grail as she spins the boat. Does she leave an opening for
Slingsby?
Yes,
will go inside. Slingsby will go inside here. Toddy's thread the needle. It's a sprint to the finish.
And it looked like Mubadala Brazil was going to get a history-making win, but the Emirates-winning moment goes the way of our old nemesis, the 3-time champions. Tom Slingsby ruins the day for the Brazilians.
Oh, Slingsby with the slingshot at the finish. What a move, what a race by Martini Grail and that Mubadala Brazil team. Contant de la Pierre, well, he nearly wrote 2 F50s off in the blink of an eye halfway up that leg, but they did a great job to avoid a collision. And perhaps crucially here, United States and Canada, there's going to be tight round the top here. United States are going to get round for
They've got the speed.
Brilliant race for the US team here. They come round the outside. Pretty happy on board that US boat, and look, back of the pack, New Zealand. Well, if you don't get the first mark first, it's not as easy out there, is it?
It really shows how you've got to work out your approach to the finish. It's fine if you get around that mark first, but if you're coming in with more speed, they've got time to get round.
Yeah, look at it, so tight for Spain and Great Britain. Spain have got the right of way. They've got to keep clear on board Emirates Great Britain, but they're so slow. Both boats are slow. Where's the opportunity for the Swiss? The Swiss are going to dive inside, but they've fallen off the foils here. They're all slow. Oh,
and it looks like Emirates GBR is going to creep across just in the nick of time. Everyone, both holes. And here come the Kiwis.
Kiwis are coming round hot. Oh, Burling. What a move. Oh, Burling's got round the top of them. What a comeback to end.
The umpire's back to New Zealand.
Oh, and it goes for knots.
Oh, he's going to drop back there. Oh, the Kiwis are going to drop back, certainly behind Great Britain, potentially all the way back behind the Swiss. That's going to go to the umpires. We'll find out exactly how much they lose there.
And it's going to be Emirates GBR, Spain, and Switzerland that will creep across the line as we wait to find out where Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell is going to put Peter Burling. Drive it like he stole it, Stevie. He got a 3-for-1 there as he took those 3 boats on the outside and just came to the inside. Said it was just a little too close, not liking that. Exciting days ahead for Season 5. Here it is, event number 4, Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix. Todd Harris, Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, Lisa Darmanin with you on a picture-perfect California day. Hannah, yesterday it was cold, it was miserable, it was gray, and now we're 40 seconds away from the start of the final race.
Yeah, quite different conditions to yesterday. I'm sure all the sailors will be appreciating the sun, but really great racing. They've got to put it all on the line for this last race of the day, put them in good stead for tomorrow.
I think pressure's on all the crews here really, Todd, because everyone is still right potentially in the fight for the podium places tomorrow. That goes without saying. Top at the moment, Rolex Pole Predict sits on Italy. Perhaps they need a big race here. Ruggi Tito, he has space, 15 seconds to go, well positioned. Australia look close to the line to me at the bottom here. New Zealand have found a gap in the middle of the line. 7 seconds to go. It's going to be a blanket start. Watch for that line to turn white. Who's got the timing right? Oh, it's so tight. It's really good from Germany with a late dive through on the inside. New Zealand are fast in the middle. United States have got a long way to sail. I like where the Kiwis are here. They're going to drop the hammer into Mark 1 from here.
Just got to watch the zone on there, drop. Every phase, be nice push there.
And at mark number 1, it is the return of the Blackfoils. The Kiwis are back in race number 4. As they take that first turn, it is Martini Grail and Mubadala Brazil. They'll sit in second place. And look how tight they're getting.
Oh, they just got too high there on board the German boat. They put the bows underwater and slowed up. I think everyone's avoided each other. That Mark 1's so tight if you fall off the foils. France, Australia, first to manoeuvre away. They're looking for space. And it's Mubadala Brazil again well positioned with the United States third. Wow, are they doing a nice job here, but it's all about gate 2.
Your Rolex Sprint leaders goes the way of Mubadala Brazil, and a great performance by Taylor Canfield and US SailGP team. They currently sit in 4th place.
Lovely position to manoeuvre by the French. They're sailing into a dark patch of water. Big gust of wind going to hit the French. I expect them to roll down over the top of the Kiwis here. Beautiful by De La Pierre. Cut the corner. Found more breeze. He's on the inside. Burling's got to hope for a better rounding. Wide in, tight out, Peter.
It's the French, the Kiwis, and the Americans that opt for that left-hand side. Martini Grail, Mubadala Brazil, and Red Bull Italy and Tita, they go to the other side. Here come the Aussies also checking in.
Nice work by the French. They had a tighter line in, but they managed to execute a good rounding. But again, left-hand side of screen, it's Brazil. They've split the course. They've got space. Australia, they set up to manoeuvre to try and find space in the middle of the pack. But Brazil, well, here they go. They've got a chance. They've got themselves some space again. Sailing really, really well. They're in good breeze. How's it looking on the water at the moment, Lisa?
I actually think Brazil is in the best breeze on the racetrack, but the Americans, the Kiwis, they're just getting a nice little shift at the moment. I'd still go for Brazil right now.
Tight here. Interesting here, Todd. Brazil have got to watch out. The boats there, France, the United States and the Kiwis have got the right of way. Brazil need to be very sure. They look like they're too tight. Got to keep out here. Massive moment. Too late by Brazil there. That's going to be a problem. Great work by Taylor Canfield and the US team to avoid a collision, even though they had the right of way. Well sailed there by them. But it's France, left-hand side. They've got space, and New Zealand in second place. It's going to be all about execution and manoeuvres here.
So Brazil gets a little rattled there on that crossing. They drop back to fifth, despite what Lisa was saying was a prime position. It is France out in front, New Zealand in second, USA in third.
We've got France and New Zealand. Well, they're in a similar patch of water, but you can see there's still quite different wind speeds, even though they're very close together there. So it is gusty and shifty out there on the water, which is a little bit what Lisa's been telling us, really. Great manoeuvre by De La Pierre, right in front of New Zealand. That's going to give the United States a little bit of a chance to find some space. And the Australians coming from the top of our screen. Slingsby's found space. That's what he said was so important out there. And he's right back in the race, forcing the USA to move out of the way, keep clear. And right now, well, it looks pretty good for the French, doesn't it, Todd?
C'est bien, on est en face tout le monde. Attention, transition.
I can understand that. Beware, there's a transition coming. What by the hay means there's going to be a change in wind speed. What is at this level of the racing so key is how well you adjust the wing setup, you adjust the foil setup for every little change in the wind speed, and that's just constant, isn't it, Hannah?
Yeah, it's really all about adapting to the changes around you, and if you can do that faster than the others, then that's going to put you in a really good position.
Remember at the top of the show we talked about on day number one, you can't really lose the regatta, but you can certainly bury yourself in a hole. France has been consistent, Stevie. They had that one bad race in race number two where they finished in 9th place, but other than that, they had a 6th, and then they had a 3rd in the last race.
It's going to be really tight here. Spain have got the right of way. Great Britain, they're pushing too hard here. Dylan Fletcher really should have been keeping clear there. That was a big error by them. That's really going to hurt the Spanish. United still in the middle of the pack. United States find a way around. Great Britain park up. They're stopped in the middle. It's an absolute traffic jam there for the British. They're going to be right out the back. That's surely going to be big penalties. Yes, big penalties on board the British there. I don't know how many he'll get. Potentially 2, 3, 4 from Craig Mitchell for that. He absolutely parked up in the middle of the pack. They're going to lose a lot of metres. 20 metres per penalty at least, and you see right now they're still struggling to clear that. God, it was so tight at gate 3, just halfway through the race, Todd.
Handling of the race, obviously going to Tom Slingsby and Taylor Canfield. Somehow they worked their way through that mess of boats in the middle, right at the gates, and they get through it. And Canfield and the Americans now up to 3rd place, and keep your eye on the top of the screen. Here comes Slingsby. He's creeping up now into 5th.
Feels like there's definitely more wind on this bottom of our screen because the United States have made a nice gain over the Aussies there. And yeah, I mean, what a way to come back after a completely disastrous event in Sydney for the US team. They're sailing really well here and got the boat going nicely around that race course. If they can get a 3rd place here, that'll be a good finish for them. I think for Canada, for Switzerland in that 8th, 9th area on our leaderboard to the left-hand side there, important they try and gain 1, 2, 3 more places perhaps through this race.
The Americans, after 3 races in that group of 14 points. They had a 7th in race number 1. They backed it up with an 8th in race number 2, but they bounced back in race number 3 with a 4th place. So a top 3 here, and they could be looking at a very strong position going to Championship Sunday.
Yeah, another gate here, so another opportunity to turn right or left. The Kiwis are going to keep it simple. They're going to follow the French boat here. I think the interesting one could be Australia and the United States. There might be the opportunity for the US team to take a left turn if they can get across in front of Brazil. It's very tight. Not sure if he's quite clear ahead. It was really tight there. Potentially that'll be an issue, but could be Australia taking a left turn. There's definitely good wind towards that top right-hand corner of our course. This could be an opportunity for Slingsby.
And here comes Canada, Emirates GBR. They go side by side. And I'm not sure if it's the announcer jinx or what to our neighbors to the north, but the Canadians, after having a very strong performance and being the overall leaders right now after 3 races, are mired back in 8th.
Yeah, and they're in quite a tricky spot here. They're going to have to do a slow maneuver coming out of that mark, so they're really going to have to try and accelerate, work the boat hard to get back up to speed.
Final upwind leg here right now, and we can see right-hand side of screen Australia. They show us force. They're definitely in good wind over that side of the course. Be a crucial time to make a move up the fleet. They will have the right of way. Brazil are off the foils. France are well out in front and clear right now. It all looks pretty smooth, but it's all about can the Australian boat fight their way back ahead of the USA and Spain.
Let's go down on the water, Lisa Darman, and bring us home here on leg 5 of 6. Where do you want to be?
I think the French are definitely in control of this race, and where the Australians are right now, they've had a really good shift. They're about to sail into more pressure and then have a really nice ley line to this mark. So I think in terms of course geometry, Australia is looking strong on New Zealand, but it's so changeable out here. I seem to be getting it wrong every time, so just got to wait and see what happens.
Huge gain to the Australians there, wasn't it, Todd? They went round that mark in 5th place. They're up to 3rd, but they're not only up to 3rd, they're challenging 2nd and then way ahead of the US, who they were behind. But so bottom right-hand corner, they look good shape, the Aussies here.
But the question, Stevie, is will the Australians have one less maneuver than the Kiwis?
That's definitely, Todd. There you go. You're all over this sailing game now, aren't you? Yes, right of way will be with New Zealand when they meet, but New Zealand will have an extra manoeuvre to do than Australia, that is for sure. So it's potentially advantage Australia, although it's all going to come down to Mother Nature and what breeze that Kiwi boat gets.
Go.
Looks pretty good for New Zealand at the moment. Big angle. See how they're sailing nearly straight up the ladder lines? That's because the wind's rotated in their favour. So they might be able to sail a little bit less distance, cut the corner on the Aussies.
And as they make the turn at the top of the course, the win in race number 4 will go the way of Team France with Kylian Mbappe on their mast. They bring it home for the win in Los Angeles. And that is your Emirates winning moment as the French close out day number 1 with a huge victory.
Maddie Van Dam, the grinder there, super happy on the front of that French boat.
Here we go, look at this.
New Zealand have got it though here, Todd. They're well ahead. They've done a nice job of manoeuvring in front of the Australians. Pretty solid day for the black foils. They'll be very happy. I think they'll end the day on top of the leaderboard with that. One blip in race 3. Tom Slingsby, well, he's fought hard today. It's been the boxing kangaroos out there on the water today. They've had to fight, but they fought hard and they fought well.
Be a nice bounce back for the winners of last year's event here, Spain. They will finish in 4th. The Americans, they'll drop back to 5th. But a good day for Taylor Canfield and company as they will come across top 5 and they will pick up some very valuable points going into Sunday. Championship Sunday with 3 more fleet races and then the event final. But the big loss of the day, Stevie, I got to say on this last race, is got to be Canada. They'll drop back in a 6th place finish.
It will, but they'll still look pretty good on the leaderboard. Yeah, they'll be frustrated with places lost in the last few races. You can't get those points back. But good day overall. Great day for the United States. I think it is worth a shout out to them. They've sailed consistently in the pack. They'll still have a lot of things to work on. Of course they will. All the teams have. But good comeback by that US team. And Canada, well, they'll be happy. It's tight in the pack here. Emirates Great Britain are series leaders. Wow, that was close. I think they were just okay. They're going to be fighting hard to make the top 3 tomorrow. They've yet to miss a final in season 5. Could Los Angeles be the first time that happens?
So Emirates GBR will finish in 7th place. And now the battle is on for 8th place as everyone trying to scramble to get just that extra point. Remember, after tomorrow's 3 fleet races, only the top 3 teams on points will get it. And here it is, a near photo finish at the line, and it looks like it will be Red Bull Italy that pulls it off.
Yeah, they just had room there. That was an absolute photo finish, wasn't it there? Tricky last race for the German team. Oh, that was a busy day on the water, that, Todd. That was busy day.
All right, coming up on 1 minute to go before the start of race number 5. 3 races scheduled for today. And the 11 teams now in the start box. We've got 11 teams. Denmark unable to go as they did damage to their T-foil yesterday, Stevie, on race number 1. And so 12 is now 11. And we are 3 fleet races and then the event final.
Yeah, I mean, it was a real disappointment, wasn't it? But these light winds, there's not going to feel like there's a lot of air to breathe here. And I think these new T-foils are going to be great. You will have glide with them, but they're going to be harder to get on the foil initially. So that acceleration phase is crucial. 30 seconds
this is the umpires. Penalty Germany.
Germans, that's a big mistake really
relative
there, isn't
GBR.
it? They've got to drop right back behind people here for a pre-start penalty there. That's going to be very costly for them. You can see now, top of the screen, we've got the New Zealand crew up and foiling, perhaps a touch early, but if he can stay on the foils, they're going to glide through. Our Rolex pole predictor sits on the French team at the moment. Contant de la Pierre, mid-line. We're looking for that line to turn. White, who's timed it right? Great start by Emirates Great Britain out the middle of the line. New Zealand are foiling just, but I think they're just about to drop off the foil. That could be disastrous for New Zealand. The French, the British and the Swiss are going to be fast in towards Mark 1 from here, and Great Britain and France really need a big first race if they're going to hope to make the final this afternoon.
So not quite the same speeds we saw yesterday here in Los Angeles, but they are up and foiling, and here we go. Almost 3 wide into mark number 1. This is race number 4.
New Zealand done a pretty good job of hanging on the inside there. Might still get around fourth. Brilliant first leg by Dylan Fletcher and Emirates Great Britain. They really need that. Of course, it's all about being in the top three towards the final today, and this is huge for Dylan Fletcher and the team.
So race number 5 is off and running in the port of Los Angeles. It is France the first to turn away.
This first manoeuvre absolutely crucial. Can Britain stay on the foil? Bottom right-hand corner of our screen. They look good. They've done a lovely manoeuvre and the French fell off the foils. You're going to see a huge lead distance change here right now because the British are going to be going so much quicker. One hull in the water is a lot of drag. One foil is a lot less drag.
You can see how hard Hannah Mills is having to work there to try and keep the boat foiling. They've gone into a slightly different mode there to get further down the course and away from the French.
Take a look at that T-Mobile cam for business. T-Mobile for business, giving us these great shots of those T-foils hard at work on board Emirates GBR.
They're going to try and be keeping this pretty simple round the course here. It's going to be light where Great Britain head because you're going to get in under the adrenaline lounge, but I wouldn't want to do any extra manoeuvres than I had to. You can see all the other boats fell off the foils doing the manoeuvre. Emirates Great Britain, it was silky smooth on the first turn. Silky smooth turning up there. It's lovely work, and they're just going to stretch out now. This will be quite relaxing, but look, back in the pack, New Zealand, they fell off the foils and they've dropped back to 6th. Canada, Australia, they're out the back at the moment, but it looks like Canada's about to get some breeze. Giles Scott's calling for the pop onto the foils.
Hey, wings mate.
Oh, big moment for that crew there.
After the boy, please. Everything for speed now. 57 target. Now 5, please.
I think what's really interesting, so Annie Hager there, she's had to come up onto the handles and start working those, and I just think it's a lot of load on those handles, isn't it? She's normally a strategist. Suddenly she's got to go and grind that whole big wing sail in.
It's really hard, and the pressure in the wing is actually still really heavy, even though it's light winds, the boats aren't going quite as fast. You're really having to work that wing sheet super hard just to try and get the boat up on the foils.
Hannah, how difficult is it, and we've seen some of the boats do this, once they drop off a foil or go into H1 one hole here, how hard is it to get back up on and foiling again?
Well, there's a couple of things that go into it. You've got the physical exertion of the strategist, the grinder in this position, trying to generate, just as we can see it on board the French boat at the moment, really put as much power into the handles as they can to allow the wing trimmer to do what they need to do to manipulate the shape of the wing to get back up on the foils.
So there is France currently sitting in 2nd place right now. It's Emirates GBR that lead. They need some big results, Stevie. They did not have the best day in the first 4 races, and this is race number 5 as we kick off day 2 of the Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix.
Yeah, well, it's all about that top 3 places after our qualifying series to get to the grand final, the 3 races there. And well, it was New Zealand, it was Australia, wasn't it? Canada were doing well. Well, Canada have had a good comeback on this first downwind leg. Excellent work by Fletcher on the British boat right now, but there you go, that's the voice of Ian Jensen. He's just saying, let's keep it simple, try and get straight to the next mark with no more manoeuvres, so they're going to expect not to foil Hannah Mills. That means there's a lot of work to do grinding the wing there, but Luke Parkinson, if you're not foiling, then Luke Parkinson, the flight controller's not got a job, so he can happily come on and help on the handles.
And there you see the race to the final. As it stands right now, it would be New Zealand, France, and Canada making it in, with Emirates GBR just missing out. Remember, to Stevie's point, it is only the top 3 teams on points after the 7 fleet races.
You can see here is just that big first manoeuvre, nailed it by the Emirates Great Britain. They've got a big lead. I think they'll be looking pretty safe. The interesting race really is going to be back in the pack. What can Australia do to salvage something from that 9th? And I think the US team, they had a relatively buoyant finish to yesterday, but they normally specialise in these light winds. I think, you know, it's such a big advantage having Anna Weiss. She's a full-time grinder. She's not a strategist turned grinder, and she's on the handles right now, able to bring an awful lot of horsepower in. As New Zealand, I'm surprised they've done an extra manoeuvre there. They look very slow after that mark.
France currently sitting in 2nd, a long way away from Emirates GBR. We now go down to the water, and the question that everyone wants to know, Lisa Darmanin, is there more wind coming? And if so, when will it arrive?
Well, we do expect the wind to build throughout the afternoon, but one interesting thing about this course, it's the opposite to yesterday, the right-hand side. That's the only place we see boats foiling. So anyone that's heading into the port, they're able to pop on the foils, and that we can see Spain is foiling, Australia is foiling. It looks like the French have also popped up compared to Brazil and Switzerland.
Okay, so Lisa says more wind on the way. Stevie, maybe we'll have more pressure for race number 6 that is coming up, and right now race number 5 belongs to Emirates GBR as they are out in front by a huge margin. The battle will be on now to see who can salvage this race and pick up 2 or 3 points here more than their opposite team, because you look at Spain, France, Canada, they're really still in the mix. Stevie, Australia, New Zealand, also the USA. There's some teams out there that really aren't have a shot at making that top 3.
So tight, and I wonder if it's any coincidence that there's more wind under the Los Angeles grandstand there. Perhaps the fans are giving a bit of extra help to the breeze on the racecourse, but it's the Spanish are the light wind specialists, especially in LA. This is where they won last year, and look at the way they've progressed up the fleet here. Huge upwind leg for Diego Boutin and his team, and him and the French, well, they're in a real battle to make the final, but look how slow the British boat is, just trickling. They're off the foils there, trying to avoid those other boats, and they're losing a lot of distance here. You can see the speed left-hand side in kilometres an hour. Well, wind speed's similar, but look how much slower the British are going at the moment with 2 hulls in the water. Pretty big call here for the Spanish. I think probably going to like to try and keep things simple and head straight on. Every time they turn the boat, it's a big problem. Right in the middle of our screen, New Zealand are foiling. They're showing a 6th at the moment, but they're going to be making some serious gains. They're nearly twice the speed of the Canadians at the moment. This is your chance to pop. This bear away moment here, you turn the boat away from the wind, it's your best chance for acceleration to get up and foiling, but it doesn't look like the Spanish are going to manage it. Will the French manage to pop that boat up on the foils? Here they go. Oh, it's lifting. Oh, perfect.
There you go.
By the French. Look at them go on the handles there to get that big wing sail moving for the takeoff, but they can't quite keep it foiling. Oh, so close, and they've decided to give up on trying to foil.
So this is leg 4 of 6, race number 5, day 2 of the Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix, and everyone's searching for wind, and Emirates GBR has found it. They are now up and foiling.
Oh, do you know what? I love these light wind races where you're on the foil, you're not on the foil. It's like Super Mario Kart, isn't it? How you can move up and down through the fleet. How stressful it is on board on these ones, though, Hannah.
Well, it all changes so quickly, even though relatively to other days, everything's happening a little bit slower. Actually, the mode changes are so important. Do you invest in foiling, or do you just sail with 1 hull out of the water and commit to that angle?
Great shots from the 5G POV camera, powered by T-Mobile 5G on board Emirates GBR as they continue to search for pressure to get their boat up and foiling. They lead it, France in 2nd, Spain in 3rd, Canada in 4th, and the Swiss now a top 5 position. The Americans have dropped back to 9th.
Really nice upwind leg by the Australians here. They were 10th at the bottom, they're up to 6th. This will be huge for them in this race to the final. Remember, it's all about making the top 3 after we've done our qualifying races today, and a tactical choice here being made. Australia turn left, is going to go straight on New Zealand. Well, Lisa was talking about more wind under the fans on the shoreline. Who's made the right call here? New Zealand have got a decent chance to get up and foiling as they turn away from the breeze. Learn a lot about the course.
Yeah, copy. My wheel. Nice gust, chopper gusting through. Take that.
It's pretty slow, isn't it? New Zealand left-hand side of our screen, right under the fans. They are foiling, but can they stick another manoeuvre? If they can stay on the foils here, they're bound to be right back up near the front of the fleet, but they're not going to be able to do it. It's just too light at the top of the course. It's really dancing on ice. Mousing carpet slippers required as they move around the boat there, but New Zealand for a moment, they were nearly away.
So it'll be Dylan Fletcher and Emirates GBR that get to gate 4 the fastest, and I say fastest as they cross the line. The course has been shortened, and that is your Emirates winning moment. So they shortened the course from 6 legs down to 4, and we were just caught off guard. Apologies there. It is Emirates GBR that claims race number 5 for your Emirates winning moment.
Well, you'd take that if you're on board Emirates Great Britain, wouldn't you? And right now, well, it's Spain with the right-of-way. Canada not really making any progress towards this finish line right now. They're sailing parallel to those ladder lines. Spain look good for a 2nd place here.
Yes, H1. Stay H1.
That's right. don't want it. That's right. I think that's a good call, Florian. Let's get weight off. I don't think you want to try and foil here. Just get to the finish in one hit. There they go. Joe Cordona just getting down, but a little bit late for me. Florian called for that a few seconds earlier, and those two have just run to the other side of the boat, but they've done it a little late.
Should be okay though, right?
Looks like they're going to be okay, Todd, doesn't it? But I think, you know, that'll be an interesting one for them to debrief afterwards. Got to be quick adapting to these changes, these mode changes that Hannah was talking about, and they were perhaps a little slow there. But anyway, second place. They've done a far better job than I would have done, needless to say.
Adapting on the fly, all of us are, as the race is shortening. Crossing the finish line in second place is the winners of last year's event here in Los Angeles, and the reigning Season 4 champions, Spain. They get second. Valuable points there. Now the race is on for third, and this is going to be huge. Canada looks to have a slight advantage over France.
It's a big moment here, especially with New Zealand and Australia back 7th and 8th at the moment. This is a big, big thing. Dip for the finish here, potentially. Both boats are going to turn hard to their left to try and go straight through the line. They both go pretty early for my money. Looks like the Canadians are going to do it. Oh, I'd love to know who's going faster. They both. It's like a 100-meter dash. Dip for the line. Canada are going to get it. Could be
Canada,
huge.
Yeah, that would be a big difference.
Top right-hand corner, Todd. Sorry to interrupt. The Australians were up and foiling at that moment there. Look at them on the right-hand, top right-hand corner of our screen. They're foiling. Swiss in 5th at the moment, but not on the foils, and the Aussies are in a gust of breeze. Can they stick this manoeuvre?
No foiling.
Oh, it's
look at
beautiful. Oh, that was... What a manoeuvre. That was just Chris Draper on the new side of the boat. He had the wing, he had the steering wheel, he had it all, but they managed to stick that manoeuvre beautifully. This is going to be massive. Could be a 5th place here.
They're going to pick up the extra points as Australia comes flying towards the finish line. Look at the speed difference between them and the Swiss. And coming to the line, just like he did yesterday, Tom Slingsby has found some more magic on the Pacific, and they'll pick up an additional spot.
Somebody taught Tom Slingsby how to sail in light breeze, because they are rapid through the fleet. They were 10th after that start. Disastrous start. Excuse us for a bit of industrial language on board there. That hasn't changed with Tom Slingsby, has it? Even if the light wind Techers has come on a little bit, but they'll be very happy with that gain. Solid mid-fleeter for the Swiss, but they probably needed something special, and this could be a tough day for the Kiwis. They're going to need something special in the next race.
You can see how changeable it is. There's no form book at all today, so really difficult to keep the boat going. The teams who've had a bit of a more difficult race are going to have to pick themselves up, turn themselves around for the next race.
So now the race is on to see who can salvage at 7th place right now. Will it be Germany or will it be the Kiwis, Stevie? This is the question, and it looks like Germany has more speed. They have the right of way, and the Kiwis have to worry about Brazil right now.
Yeah, the Kiwis have got to keep clear of Brazil, and they're trying to shut the door here on the Brazilian team. Brazil are going to gain the right of way potentially. Now they've got to keep clear of New Zealand. It's tight, but the Kiwis need every point they can get.
Red's there, right? Smart them. Go outside.
And this is a battle for 8th position, and Pete Burling realizes what's at stake.
He's got to say, Marcini can't turn there yet. They're wide of the 3-boat length circle. Burling's going to spin it. He wants to make sure he's not overlapped as he comes into the circle. It's all about accelerating out of here.
But has he opened the door now for Italy?
They've nearly gone off the course. Italy, maybe, but they're a long way back. I think Burling's hoping to enter the circle, not overlapped. He's now putting disturbed air on Brazil. Great move by Burling. It was aggressive, it was legal, and he's got the job done.
Look at that. Look at that. That's like parallel parking. Holy cow, New Zealand will pick it up. And then Brazil will finish in 9th. And it's the second time the league has come to the port of LA. Last year, Spain winning the inaugural event. And now as we come up on 1 minute to go before the start of race number 6, the penultimate fleet race before the field is cut, and only the top 3 teams will race in the final. So, Hannah Diamond, it's your final minute of preparation. What is going through the crew's minds, and who is saying what on board?
Well, the main thing you're looking for is a gap on the line so you can get up to speed as quick as you can. So it's really hard in these conditions to find that space, but also looking forwards along the reach to make sure you've got enough pressure if you're going to foil at the start or not.
Pretty early back, a lot of the boats here, Todd. I think it's interesting to see. We see the Rolex Predictor sits on top of the Australian wing at the moment, and I do like where they're positioned. As long as they can stop the Italians taking a dive at them, they're near that pole position. Optimum Predictor there to start in the middle of the line. New Zealand left-hand side of screen, their way out the back. They need a good race here, as does Emirates Great Britain, but they're both going to need to try and part a hole in the fleet. Has New Zealand seen a gap between Australia and Italy? It's coming down, 12 seconds to go. It's all about acceleration. New Zealand have got a gap. Can they foil through it? It's going to be tight at the top. USA are going to be trapped. Great Britain, Canada potentially all trapped out. Watch for that line to go wide. Oh, it's a good start midline by Australia. New Zealand are coming through fast as well, and them and the Italians are going to be driving towards Mark 1, but Emirates Great Britain, United States, they're shut out. That could be a regatta ender for those two boats.
So here we go, race number 6 here in Los Angeles, and the whole shot at mark number 1 goes the way of the Aussies.
Remember how crucial, look how close gate 2 is. This manoeuvre absolutely pivotal here for the Aussies. Watch them, can they stay on the foils?
No surprise that your Rolex Sprint leader goes the way of Tom Slingsby in Australia. The course has been shortened there. See how close it is now, Hannah. So things get tighter now with 11 boats out there all fighting for the sweet spot on the course.
Yeah, that's right, and I think it'll be the same again. If you can get away in clear air, then you're going to be off. But if you're back in the pack, finding some space is going to be key.
Australia, Italy and New Zealand all stuck that first manoeuvre here, Todd. And interesting, we heard Tash say Italy are going to be close, but she thinks they'll follow, and I think that's right. You've got to try and stay clean and on the foils. Minimise the manoeuvres if you can.
Standing up in 5, standing up in 3, 2, 1, coming up.
On board Red Bull Italy, Ruggero Tito, the 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 4-time NACRA world champion at the wheel.
Already a couple of gains for Emirates Great Britain, left-hand side of screen. Spain in the middle struggling, and that race for the final, well, it's crucial Spain gets some good points because Canada have also pulled themselves out of the fire here. They were struggling at Mark 1, but they got a good manoeuvre in. They stayed on the foils, and they're straight up to 4th. Canada are really on fire at this event so far.
Gate number 2, the DP World Gate, as Switzerland goes sliding through. They're currently in 6th place. Australia there you see out in front, and a penalty coming for the Italians, and it looks like the Kiwis have moved up to 3rd, possibly moving into 2nd place with that penalty.
Yeah, New Zealand will be able to really hurt the Italian boat with bad wind there, and you can see there's not a lot of wind at the bottom of the course here. Emirates Great Britain, it looks really, really light. They've tried to split the course to find space on their own. They need to make something happen, but Lisa, is there still more wind towards that right-hand side of the course under the Adrenaline Lounge?
Angle.
I'm not sure if we're quite getting through to Lisa right now, but it looked like a good gain on that side to New Zealand, to Australia. So I think still what Lisa was saying from first race stands a little bit. Tash Bryant having to work hard on the handles.
I don't know if we'll make the kink or not. It'll be almost
all trying to minimise manoeuvres here, but it's such a tight course. They're all thinking ahead. Going to turn right, but they've got to get out there. Where's the best breeze on the course at the moment, Lisa, as the Aussies turn away?
Angle. A little further.
I think the Aussies are heading into good pressure. It is more even across the course. It is gusty, so I think the one priority is do the maneuvers when you're in the best pressure. Even if you're not quite on the lay line, just take it, because the difference between foiling and not foiling is the difference between 1st and 8th right now.
And this is one of those scenarios where you're not necessarily sailing the shortest distance. You've just got to keep the boat going as fast as you can. And if that means sailing a little bit further, you definitely do that to stay on the foils.
So this is leg 4 of 6. This is race number 6. We got one more fleet race, and then the fleet will be cut. Only the top 3 teams will participate in the event final to find out who will be the champion of the Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix.
This is the umpires. Penalty Italy. Boat not keeping clear, go behind France.
That's 2 penalties on that leg.
Just before the mark when they didn't manoeuvre out the French's way enough, so they've got to get back behind France now. Might not be too costly a penalty there, almost a hint of a professional foul potentially in that one, but it might be a penalty well taken. They have to drop back. Australia a long way ahead here. New Zealand, middle of our screen, they're off the foils heading downwind. It's good opportunity for the French to make a move on them. Points absolutely count at the moment, and for Australia, well, they are down the road. This race looks very good. We're nearly on the final upwind leg. Leg 4 or 6 just coming to an end here. Simple shot upwind for the Aussies. Looks good for them.
And you'd anticipate the Australian team, Stevie, winning the Emirates fly time because they have doing a masterful job from the start, hitting the line almost perfectly. So now, Hannah, you got to sit on board Australia and say, okay, don't make any mistakes. Let's keep it clean, keeping the maneuvers at a minimum.
Yeah, that's right, and just trying to stay away from other boats as much as possible. They're really liking that left turn at the bottom. I think they've seen a little bit more wind over there. They've just got to make sure they can get out of that corner and not have any wind shadow under the fan stadium.
Massive downwind leg for the French, for the British here. At the moment when we look at the points, Australia would be leading if it finished as it was now, tied with the New Zealand crew. But Canada are still hanging in there in third, and then we're looking at France, Great Britain and Spain would be struggling to get a shot at the final as it stands. So they need a massive downwind leg on board those three boats if they're going to close things back up.
So North Star Canada holding on that third and final transfer position, Stevie, but they are only 3 points clear of France. So that basically means it's going to come down to race number 7.
It does, doesn't it? We've got the Oracle Cloud there giving us a bit of a shout out to the race to that final, and it shows what we said. It shows Australia, New Zealand and Canada currently looking good for the final. The French have got an outside shot, but they need to overtake some places on this downwind leg desperately.
France could do themselves a big solid if they can pick up maybe 2 or 3 positions here, not finish in 7th, maybe in 5th, and then beat the Canadians in the next race. But Australia and New Zealand, Hannah, they look so good right now. They just look clean.
Yeah, they do, and I think the wind looks like it's picked up a little bit, which is making it a lot easier to fly the boat. So now it's going to be about not dropping off the foils in the maneuvers, rather than where can you find the breeze to get foiling.
Lisa, I've got to ask you, if the wind does pick up on race number 7 in the event final, would the race committee go back to 6 people on board, or are they going to stay with 4 throughout the day?
So generally, if they're not foiling, it's just 4 people on board. So before the race, they're foiling at 6 people on board. So I would expect a crew change going into the next race if the wind stays as it is.
Stevie, I got to imagine that's a huge plus for some of these teams if they could go to 6.
It would be a big deal for them, I think. I mean, I always, like I say, I'm surprised the US team are struggling. I think it's one of their really good strengths is this light wind sailing, but they're struggling today out there. Right now, bottom of our screen, Spain are foiling, Germany are just foiling, but Great Britain and France have fallen off. If Spain can stay on the foils, this could be their moment. This manoeuvre, crucial. Does the hull stay out of the water? Eyes on it. Well, we're going to see when they come back in from the bottom. Here we go, they're back on board and they are foiling. A little bit of tension brought in for us there, Todd, taking us away for a second. Beautiful manoeuvre by Spain. This is a massive opportunity for the Spanish. They might be able to get into this bottom gate staying on the foils, and if they do, could keep them in with a chance of the final.
And there is the leader, Australia, on board as they make the turn around that gate. It is leg 6 of 6, and the Aussies are on their way to Hallelujah Land. The Emirates winning moment in race number 6 goes the way of Tom Slingsby and Australia.
Brilliant start, brilliant execution of that first downwind leg, and it was just clean from there. Very smooth sailing by that 4.
So now they get the benefit, Hannah, of just getting a little more debriefing time, as they will get 2 or 3 minutes probably before the next boat even comes through, as they've got a long way to go in the battle now between the Kiwis there on the left side of your screen and the Canadians.
And they've put the Canadians in a really tough spot there with that lane that they're going to hold all the way back across the middle of the course. So I'd expect to see the Kiwis try and get foiling from there if they can build a little bit more speed. But actually, if they keep in that high mode there, they're making life really hard for the Canadians.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't go a bit more aggressive. I don't see the need for them to foil at that stage, really. They could just stay right on them. It's a race to protect second. There's no bonuses for being 100, 200 metres ahead of the third place finisher, so just make it hard for the Canadians. There they go, they're starting to come out now. H1, that just means we're going to just have one hull up in the air. Normally when they're foiling, both the hulls are up, but it's just not quite windy enough now. So what they're doing, they're sailing a bit slower, but a bit more directly towards the mark to try and make sure they minimise distance. Bottom of screen, Italy, look, doing nearly twice the speed. Can they go round the outside of New Zealand and Canada? Big moment for Rogero Tita, but he has got 2 more manoeuvres to do, potentially none more for the New Zealand and the Canadians. Here we go. This manoeuvre crucial for the Italians. If they nail it, they've got a shot at getting in that second place.
On board. 2, 1, lock. Turning. 1, touch and go.
They did a nice job.
Yeah, but I think they waited a little too late.
Maybe a little bit. The Kiwis around, and I think Canada are going to be okay here. Canada have got to keep clear. Giles Scott has to watch out here. Italy have the right of way. Canada have got to be sure they're clear ahead. He's judged that very well. North Star Canada will get the third. Kiwis put on a little bit of a show for the fans with a double foil across the line there. And well, back in the pack, where are the Spanish, where are the British?
And the French have really fallen off.
Yeah, I mean, this is massive for that race to the final. I think Australia, New Zealand and Canada are sitting very, very pretty in that race to the final now.
So Giles Scott and North Star Canada, they will come across the line rather slowly, but the damage has been done as they will pick up some very valuable points. That's 8 more points added to their total. Remember, 10 points for win, all the way down to 1 point for 10th place. 11th to 12th gets nothing. Italy will slowly follow them into 4th place. So Red Bull Italy, a strong performance for them, Stevie, but they needed more of that on day number 1.
Yeah, they did. I mean, you know, they're still in that learning phase. We hear, you know, there's probably slightly more giggles happening on board the Canadian boat. Paul Campbell-James asking Giles Scott how the stress levels were. I'm pretty sure they're going to be fairly high on many people, no more so than on the French and the British boat. Now, of course, remember, Emirates Great Britain have yet to miss a final this year, so they're not going to be happy with... Whoa, look at that, the runners let go there. Oh, you just saw that runner start to stall out, drop down, and then it changed the angle relatively to the front foils. Fairly spectacular from the Swiss. No damage, nothing harmful done there, but it certainly gave the fans a little bit of a show.
So Great Britain right there, the center of your screen. Germany coming in about 15 kilometers faster, and this will be a very critical moment because Emirates GBR has got to get this point. They cannot give up another point because that will put them almost out of reach of the final in race number 7.
Coming up. He will love you to the boundary. Sorry, it does.
Here we go, we have to watch out. Germany have to keep clear of the British here. Great Britain are going to spin away. Emirates Great Britain. Solid one for them, but possibly not really what they needed. They had such a good start today. They looked imperious in race 1 out there today, or the 5th, race 5 of this event here in Los Angeles, of course. But it's not enough in this race, I'm afraid, for Emirates Great Britain.
So it will be Emirates GBR crossing the finish line, and they will claim 6th place. Germany Deutsche Bank will claim 7th. And now look at this, a full SIG alert on the final gate. It is France, Mubadala Brazil, and the US SailGP team all fighting for position number 8, 9, and 10.
Disaster for Spain, really. They've managed to do such a good job on the foils before. But right then they just dropped back, lost a few places, and that's going to put them really now out of the chance of getting to that final.
France is just going to make life miserable for the U.S. team as they slow down just enough. The U.S. will have to dip behind them, and it looks like the U.S. will get ahead, though, of Brazil. 2 minutes to go before the start of the final race. There is the standings. Canada, Australia, New Zealand right now are in. Great Britain and France, Stevie, I say, have a slight chance of getting in, but they're going to need some help.
Yeah, go win the race. Pretty simple message, I'd say, for the British and the French from their coaches. I'd guess they'd just say, go win the race, and let's hope that either Canada, Australia and New Zealand make a bit of a mess of it and give us an opportunity to get in. That's too big a gap to really control it yourself. Great Britain got tangled up in the last start. Got in a fight with Taylor Canfield, but he's foiling now. Can they do something a bit more simple? And I imagine Robbie Wilson will have just told them, let's just go win the race, hey, Hannah?
Yeah, with a fleet this size, there's not really anything you can do to control all the other boats, so just focus on your own performance.
4 now. That's when we then lay. Yep.
Coming up on a minute to go before the start of race number 7, the final fleet race here at the Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix. Only the top 3 teams after this race will be moving on to the 3-boat event final.
Middle of the line, Australia early back. They're deciding to try and really control the starts. They're right slap bang in the middle of our screen, the Australians there, and they're really trying to control these starts. New Zealand off to the left-hand side. Great Britain this time have found some space. France has space as well. 42 seconds to go. We see that blue triangle. That's our optimum pole predictor position to start. That should give you the optimum equation of distance versus speed towards Mark 1, and the Australians are well lined up for it at the moment. The Rolex pole predictor sits right on top of that Australian wing, and the boats are trickling in here. They're all a little early for me. They're going to have to get slow late on. France dip out the way. Canada currently the favourites. They've been starting really well. 17 seconds to go. Brazil well positioned, Canada well positioned, and Great Britain well positioned. New Zealand are struggling to get a good start from here. All about the acceleration now. Winding up onto the foils here. The boats turn down. We're looking for the line to turn white, and we'll be go on the final qualifying race.
Oh, no foil yet, no foil yet.
Good start by Emirates Great Britain. Are they foiling? I think they might be about to. Germany have come through on the foils. Switzerland are on the foils. And yes, Emirates Great Britain are on the foils. They need to win the race if they're going to have a shot at the final. And this could be just the move they need.
At mark number 1, the final fleet race of Los Angeles event, and it is Emirates GBR desperately needed a whole shot, and they get it.
Oh, and this is the race we've got to watch. It's a simple watch now. Left-hand side of screen, New Zealand are last. Emirates Great Britain are in the lead. All about this manoeuvre for Emirates Great Britain. First 3 boats turn at the same time. Who does it best? Switzerland are off the foils. Germany hang in, but perfect from Emirates Great Britain. Rolex Sprint leader, and they are going to be gone at gate 2.
Germany have done a good job coming out of that jibe exit. They're working really down low, close to Emirates GBR.
Nice job. I think Emirates Great Britain will go around the outside from here, and it'll be Germany following. Question now is New Zealand. They're sat in 11th, and that will put them 4th overall in the race to the final at the moment. They've got work to do. There's a chance here. You're saying there's a chance, Dylan Fletcher.
It gets really interesting because if the race standings go like this for the rest of this race, it would be Emirates GBR that would get into the final, bumping New Zealand into 4th by 2 points. So the Kiwis, they've got to get up and go.
They have, and Canada are doing a nice job. Of course, Canada, Australia, they can't afford to drop too far back either. But right now, it looks very good for Emirates Great Britain. The Kiwis left-hand side of screen, here they come. They're coming into view. To me, they will have gained a few places here, but the crucial thing is, can they get foiling? It looks like they can. I think the Kiwis are going to get foiling, and they're going to overtake a fair few boats. It's chaotic on the course here because this first downwind leg's so short, but New Zealand are foiling. They're going to be way, way up the leaderboard from where they are after this. They're going to go behind Australia and look to turn left. Pressure could be on the Australians rather than the Kiwis after this gate. Spain are going to have rights on the inside. This is getting really difficult for the Australians right now. It's going to be advantage New Zealand over Australia. Tom Slingsby's on the back foot. He's got serious work to do here.
And now it's Australia dropping into that 4th position. So as it stands right now, it would be New Zealand, Canada, and Great Britain.
It would. I think Australia are actually slightly better. I think because the fleet's so congested with people on the first downwind leg still. Yeah, there you go. Sudden jump up.
Yep.
And I think that would be enough. 7th is enough. But Australia are right on the cusp. Dylan Fletcher and Emirates Great Britain can't do any more right now. But Australia needs to finish 7th if they're going to make the final. That's the simple battle. What a first downwind leg for Peter Burling and the New Zealand crew. Saved their event in that manoeuvre.
Take you on board Emirates GBR. Beautiful shot there. That's what we want to see. Nice, clean foiling. Hannah, your old team looking very good, but the situation is this. They can win the race, but they still can't guarantee themselves a spot in the final.
No, and you can hear the tempo on board is quite calm because they'll be very aware that if they can win the race, whatever happens behind them, they can't influence it.
I think what's important to remember at this stage, Todd, look, bottom right-hand side, the Oracle Cloud gives us that race to the final, and Great Britain are ahead, but the same points as Australia. It's important to remember if you're in a tie-break, it's the person that does best in the last race that will get the shot through to the final. So it's good for Emirates Great Britain at the moment, but the Australians have just overtaken 1 place up to 7th. He's got to work.
Oh, we got to sail better than this. Ridiculous, just lost it. Hey, Max, stiff there.
Okay, my big moment. Can Tom Slingsby reset himself? There's plenty of opportunity on this racetrack, but we're nearly halfway through the race. We've got work to do.
So they'll come up to the top of the course, then they'll go back down, then it's over to the quick shot in front of the fans. Tom Slingsby's going to try to rally. CB, there's 2 teams out there that I would not put money on not to make the final because all they have to do is work their way up a few positions. It would be Australia and New Zealand. They are the craftiest of working their way through the pack.
Yeah, and they've just normally got really good manoeuvres, but you can hear the tension levels are high, aren't they? You know, there's a lot of money on the line at this event, as well as the championship points. Tom Slingsby will be well aware of that. He's going to set up for 1 more manoeuvre and a left turn. Great Britain are nearly a leg ahead. Look, they are just sailing away with it here. New Zealand right-hand side of screen, they have to finish ahead of Australia, and in fact, they really want to be trying to keep a couple of places in the bank, but they're foiling right now, 37, 38 kilometres now. Looks good for the New Zealand crew at the moment.
And Australia just picked up another position as they move ahead of Spain.
The Prix here.
They've got to get back past Switzerland, I'm pretty sure. They need to overtake the Swiss if they were. Here we go. Oh, Australia have got it. If it stays, it is 1 point in it. Oh, this is so tense for them.
So Tom Slingsby gives a quick on-water pep talk, and they rally for another position. Will that position hold, or does Dio Botin come back and turn the tables on him? Meanwhile, it's Emirates GBR. They've already made the turn at the last gate, and they are heading upwind.
Yeah, the Emirates GBR have done absolutely everything they can, sailing a great race here, as you say. The final upwind leg, nothing more they can really do. I wonder if they can maybe slightly slow down the Australians somehow. It'd be a little bit of a non-ideal move, but you can at least put yourself in their way, so they got to sail around you.
Bottom line, Hannah, they own the tiebreaker. So if they just win this race, they'll cross the line. They'll feel great about winning the last race, but they'll just wait and see what Tom Slingsby and the rest of the fleet do.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a nervous moment sometimes when you cross the finish line. There's nothing more you can do, and see where the chips fall after that.
I think any of us, you'd probably tell us better than anyone, Hannah, but Dylan Fletcher's not going to be happy with winning the last race and not making the final, is he?
No, and sometimes it does just play out like that, but they're doing an excellent job so far in this race, and winning the first race of today as well.
Tight with Australia and New Zealand still here. Pressure manoeuvres for the Kiwis. They've got a couple of manoeuvres to do. Australia and Switzerland are very tight as well. The Aussies are chasing the Swiss down. It's going to come down to these last couple of manoeuvres at the bottom.
Sebastian Schneider, he is at the wheel of Switzerland. Yeah, he is, but Stevie, he has got the master class behind him, and Tom Slingsby just tracking him down.
He has, but Slingsby needs to know that he doesn't have to overtake the Swiss. What he has to do is not get tangled up and slowed by the Swiss. What a manoeuvre by the Australians under pressure, though. The Roos have nailed that. They've got to keep clear of Switzerland at the moment, but as soon as they enter that yellow circle, the Aussies will have the right of way. But the Australians, the crucial thing, can they stay foiling?
Coming up here, staying fast.
They've nailed that, Todd. They've absolutely nailed that. It was a perfect ley line. Sailed about 30 metres less than the Swiss. Nailed the manoeuvre. That might be the moment we say the Australian booked their ticket in the final.
So Great Britain still way out in front by more than 200 meters in the distance. They will win this race, barring any major disaster. There they are at the bottom of your screen, just cruising along at 24 kilometers an hour. Probably unaware of what's happening in the back of the pack as the Australians have overtaken the Swiss. They are in 7th place. As long as they stay in that 7th, Stevie, they look to be safe.
Stay on the wheel, stay on the wheel.
Oh, there's a bit of a tangle for Chris Draper there. He crossed over and was going to take the wheel, but he managed to get a bit tangled. I think they've salvaged it, but at the moment the Spanish could have gone round and got ahead of the Australians, I'd say, to my eye. The Spanish have got the right of way, coming in from the left-hand side of our screen. Both boats struggling to progress much upwind, but the Kiwis, crucially, are foiling, as are the Spanish, so they're going to be starting to absolutely motor up this racetrack at the moment. Lisa, what hope have you got for the Australian fans out there? Are they heading the right way?
I think they're heading the right way, but the issue we've got, if you look at the New Zealand, if they make the ley line, they've got to do 1 manoeuvre, where Australia still have to do 2 manoeuvres. So this is a really dangerous spot for Australia to be in right now.
No danger for Emirates GBR, Lisa, as they make through the last gate, and as they approach the line in front of the fans, the Emirates winning moment will go to Emirates GBR. So the Brits claim the win in race number 7, and now they sit and wait and look for some help.
There you go, Dylan's already asking. Poor old Rob Wilson's got to be getting the answers out to Dylan quickly here. The crucial boat right now is the US. They've got the right of way. They're going to cross ahead of Australia. That currently puts the British in the final and Australia out of it. Australia have got more manoeuvres to do, and they've got to be ahead of USA and Switzerland when they come back together if they're going to hope to make the final. They're foiling, but the US have got one less manoeuvre to do.
Well sailed, team. Good race. Good race. It's really tight. We need Australia to lose a place.
So there's Rob Wilson confirming what Stevie had just said. Australia sitting at 7th place. They need to drop to 8th place to give Emirates GBR a chance of making the final. Germany's in safely in 2nd place, and now the race is on. Italy looks to be claiming 3rd. Canada's going to do themselves a solid, so they seem safe as they will come in 4th, and then New Zealand. And keep your eye on the center of the screen. You'll see Australia coming in, and watch the USA, the Stars and Stripes.
That's exactly it, Todd. That's the race. So this manoeuvre by the US is crucial. They've not got the wing pop. They're a bit late popping the wing, just in time. Got a lot of heel in the boat there, but they're okay. Now, Australia have the right of way, but they've got one more manoeuvre to do. USA will be thinking they can get there with no more manoeuvres, but they've got to keep clear of the Aussies, and it's all about that for the race to the final. Can Slingsby find a way to hold Canfield behind him?
And coming up here.
Here's the cross.
He's dialed him down a little bit, tried to make it hard for Taylor to make the mark with no more manoeuvres, but I think the USA team look all right. Slingsby's only hope is to stay foiling and go trailer park round the outside.
Get a little press for the mark here.
USA are going to be slow. Australia are going to be on the foils. Here we go. Slingsby's lining up the Slingsby slingshot into the finish. It's going to come down to this. Can he get past the US boat?
Never has a battle for 7th place been more exciting than this. As the Americans get into the circle, they've got the inside line. Taylor Canfield will spin it around. Can Canfield and the Americans hold off the Australians? Great Britain is certainly hoping so.
Australia have got to keep clear. Australia have got to keep clear until they get near that boundary, and then all of a sudden the Aussies will have right of way to keep clear. They're staying on the foils. I think he's done it, Tom.
Oh my goodness.
He's got a sense of drama on board there, hasn't he? Johnny Drama, Tom Slingsby on the boat. He's just got to glide across the line. I think that's enough.
Just enough, as Tom Slingsby will claim 7th. US SailGP will finish in 8th. And by Stevie's calculations and a quick work on the abacus, it looks like Australia has done just enough to get into the 3-boat final as US SailGP crosses the line in 8th. Switzerland will finish in 9th with Brazil in 10th.
Pretty sure I'm right with my maths there, Todd, and the Oracle Cloud's backing me up as well, which is a far more reliable source of data, that is for sure. I think with Australia, well, I mean, well, that's hard for Emirates Great Britain. That's the first final they're going to miss in season 5, but wow, they came up good when they needed to. They had to win the race. They did win the race. What an incredible final race.
And there are the 3 boats. The 3 protagonists that will take part in the event final here in Los Angeles: North Star Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. Stevie, I'd say North Star Canada is the newest to this group, but Giles Scott is not new to this kind of racing.
No, and they were so close to winning in Sydney, weren't they? They're going to have the bit between their teeth, that's for absolute sure. Same for Slingsby and Burling, you know, had a terrible event in Sydney and disappointing in New Zealand, but I think with this Canadian crew, you know, Annie Hager and Giles seem to have really found their feet in terms of mapping out a course around the racetrack, and Billy Gooder, well, he's renowned for pushing the ride height really aggressively. He was on fire yesterday with it. He'll like a little bit more breeze, and I think in these flat waters, it's going to suit Billy.
And then let's talk about New Zealand, Hannah. They have been the class. They are always consistent. They always have so much talent on board.
Yeah, and that combination of Pete and Blair, they've been competing and winning together for so many years. Leo Takahashi a bit newer in that flight controller role this year with this team, but Liv Mackay, again, been there for a long time now, really solid crew.
And of course, Australia rounding out the trio with Tom Slingsby, a 3-time champion in 5 seasons of SailGP. Stevie, he's got all kinds of talent surrounded him as well with Waterhouse, Chris Draper, and Tosh Bryant.
Yeah, I think Draper's been a great addition to the team, and Slingsby now seems to really have it in light air.
So here we go, the final race for the Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix, the Rolex SailGP Championship. This is event 4, season 5, SailGP. Now just the top 3 teams on points after 7 races have taken place, and it is New Zealand, Australia, and North Star Canada that'll battle it out for the title.
Here we go, we see bottom right-hand corner of the start line, and we see the optimum place to be is on the inside of Mark 1. We heard Chris Draper saying we're almost racing back to the line. They're all quite late. Good news for Canada, can they stay foiling? The Rolex Pro Predictor has just switched to the Australians on the inside, but I think they're going to struggle to get accelerated in the dirty, disturbed wind behind the other boats here. New Zealand are up and foiling, Canada up and foiling. We're waiting for the line to turn white. I love where the Kiwis are. All about timing now. How are we looking, Peter Burling? We are on time on New Zealand. The black foils will lead at Mark 1. Australia are late, and Canada have got it all on, but it's going to take some catching, Burling and co from here.
Looks okay.
As they approach mark number 1 here at the event final, worst case scenario for North Star Canada, Australia, it is the black foils up and foiling and pulling away, pushing almost 70 kilometers an hour.
These manoeuvres are now crucial. We heard it's all about really sticking them in. Tom Slingsby saying we should be sticking the manoeuvres, it'll be a mistake not to. Canada turn early. They look to cut the corner on the New Zealand crew. Who's done the better manoeuvre? Speed-wise, Canada look pretty good. I think they've maybe just hung on enough here, New Zealand. New Zealand look pretty good. Canada are potentially going to have to do 2 here, and it looks like further distance to a right turn. So New Zealand definitely going to minimise distance down here, and they're fast. It's going to be good news for the Kiwis. Maybe a little too aggressive too early from Canada, but they will have a split at gate 2, and we will see who finds more wind after this downwind gate.
So it almost becomes a 2-boat race now, with Australia really getting off the line late. It is the Black Foils, New Zealand, opting for the right-hand side there, and North Star Canada going left.
Look like pretty good for a left turn there for pressure. Lisa, what are you seeing on the water? Are you turning left or right?
I still think out of the odds, the right-hand side has been working the most. Canada looks pretty lit up, so it's really coming down to the executing manoeuvres. But where New Zealand is where it's been working best all day.
Right now, the Canadian boat is on the foils. The Kiwis have manoeuvred, fell off the foils, but they're back up and going. As we see from the Oracle cloud, we got the wind velocity very similar across the course right now. Not a lot in it. It's going to come down to executing good manoeuvres and who's found the best angle. Brilliant tack by the Canadians there. Stayed on the foils. Will be a gain, but it still looks like advantage New Zealand as they have the right of way.
And Australia back in the mix, so they are now sitting currently in 2nd place as they pick that left-hand side, and watch the Canadians start to close this gap.
Looked like quite a lot of bias at that bottom gate. Looked like the Kiwis and the Australians sailed a lot less distance to me, Hannah. Do you think that's right?
Yeah, and that left turn's been favoured all day, really. But I think if you're the Canadians and you're in 2nd, you want to go for the win, so you have to split and then see what happens from there.
That's exactly what they did, but now no one able to track down Peter Burling and New Zealand. They came off the line fast, Stevie, and that has been the story really all day today and a little bit of yesterday. Get that start, getting clean air, and you stay away from trouble.
Yeah, I mean, even there's a bit more space now, so we can see as the Kiwis turn here, they've not done a great manoeuvre. They're just making a few little errors every time they turn the boat upwind here, and the Canadians did stay on the foil. See, Canada are still foiling, and this manoeuvre back, Canada will have the right of way. Can they stay foiling? Looks pretty good to me. How's that speed? Yes, they've stayed flying, and they have the right of way here, Todd. Massive. Could be a lead change coming here. I like what the Canadians are doing. They're going to turn left. New Zealand are probably going to be forced to either try and dive in front of Canada or dip behind and split away to the right. Big gain by the Canadians, all down to brilliant handling from the crew.
Not that tricky of a cross right there, as Canada with the right-of-way opts for that other side. They split the course again. Australia drops back into 3rd place. So it is Canada on the water with a slight lead over the Black Foils of New Zealand, who got the hole shot. They led at mark number 1.
Definitely got good wind on board the New Zealand boat at the moment. When they meet back up, they're going to meet back up in about 20 or 30 seconds, maybe 30 or 40 seconds actually. New Zealand will have the right of way, but it'll all be who's lined up for this bottom gate, and can the New Zealand boat make Canada have to take avoiding action? New Zealand might have fallen off the foils again here, Todd. I think they've missed another manoeuvre, and Canada are making no mistakes. Billy Gooderham, silky smooth. Yeah, Canada, New Zealand are off the foils. Another error by the Black Foils, and that's another big gain for the Canadians. This looks pretty good for North Star Canada at the moment.
And Hannah, here's my question. As Canada comes in here, are they going to opt for the left-hand side this time, where Lisa Darmanin was reporting more pressure?
I think if they can make it in, then that would be the smart decision. It has been strong all day, but it's just whether they have to sail low and slow mode to get there, if they pick that line just right.
What a turn of events after just one leg, with New Zealand looking like, Stevie, they were going to check out and run away with the victory here. And Giles Scott said not so fast, as he is now pulled into nearly a 200-meter lead.
Isn't it interesting, Todd, in sport, how it all comes down to that error count and unforced errors making this trick. We're not saying it's easy to manoeuvre in these boats. It's really, really hard. But if you do it well, it's simple gains. They've not really done anything special. They've just done the basics very well. Nice roundup. They're definitely sailing towards a dark patch of water there. Canada are heading towards a fantastic bit of breeze. Expect New Zealand to split away potentially, or they're going to set them. No, New Zealand are saying, look, we're going to have to settle for 2nd here. They want to just make sure they stay ahead of Australia, and it'll be Australia that look for magic on the other side of the course. But Canada right now, wow, North Star Canada looks like Giles Scott could be bringing home his first Canadian win.
Tom Slingsby makes the turn. He splits with the Kiwis, and now it is on. The lead is now down to 150 meters as they make their way up to the top of the course. Then it'll be a right-hand turn into the finish line. There you see the distance. It's under 100 meters now. Do they get the pressure? Does New Zealand get it? We go down on the water quickly. Lisa Darmanin, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking Canada's looking pretty solid right now. The New Zealand, they didn't have a good manoeuvre, so I think if you're Canada, you got one more manoeuvre to do, and then this win could be theirs.
So at 52 kilometers an hour, Stevie, they look to be in good pressure. As you look at the surface of the water, New Zealand now, all they can do is hope for a mistake.
Yeah, beautiful manoeuvre by the Australians. I don't see a mistake coming. I think the real battle's perhaps for second and third here. Australia have got a couple more manoeuvres to do. New Zealand perhaps just one, but the Aussies will have to, I think, get one more shot at getting back at the Blackfalls. But yeah, Canada, it's a masterclass. Let's just see how well they execute this last manoeuvre. Here they go. This is the mover for the money. That was absolutely perfect. Billy Gooderham has got that boat on rails right now. They are nailing it round the course here. Beautiful play. Paul Campbell-James, he calls for a little high mode to try and make it to the finish. They're just coming in straight here. If they can make the right turn with no more manoeuvres, then this will be the first time North Star Canada, with Giles Scott on the wheel, can take a victory.
Stevie, you have to go back to March of 2023. Canada, season 3 in Christchurch, the last time they had an event win. So it is a long time coming as Giles Scott has now taken the wheel, and he looks very good right now, trying to hold off the Kiwis and the Aussies. And there you see the distance. This is all but a done deal for North Star Canada, as Giles Scott will spin it one more time to the right, and he'll be 250 meters away from glory.
Going to get it done. It's going to be brilliant for Canada, but right now, neck and neck, Slingsby and Burling. This is going to be huge for the championship as a whole. Right of way is with Australia. New Zealand must be confident of crossing ahead.
And as they approach the line, it has been 727 days in the making. The Emirates winning moment goes the way of North Star Canada.
Elbows up for the North Star Canada across the finish line. Wow, what a result by them. Giles Scott bounces back from Sydney disappointment.
The greatest neighbors to the north as Canada comes to Los Angeles and claims the top prize. The Kiwis will hold on for second, Australia third.
Tom Slingsby's going to be frustrated. He did not nail that start at all. He's going to be annoyed, and the Blackfall as well. Some pretty clear things to go work on. They're manoeuvring not as good as we're used to seeing. Started very nicely. When they started well, they did well. But there, they just didn't quite have the manoeuvres down. They'll be happy with the second, though.
Yep.
Championship as a whole, those 3 teams will be good. But that's exactly what Canada needed. They needed an event win. They've got an event win. Huge for their season 5.
Canada was sitting in 6th place overall coming into this event. You tack on 10 more points for the win here, and that will certainly bump them up the ladder. Once again, it's Canada getting the win at event number 4. The Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix goes the way of the Canadians.